Hey guys, so today is the first video of a series I'm going to be starting on my YouTube channel about how to make your own backgrounds. So there's going to be a lot of mixed media, stuff with pattern paper, stencils, cardstock, a lot of different things anyway. So, how this is going to work, there's going to be a video every Sunday, starting on the 2nd of October, which is today. And I'm going to do about 5 or 6 different videos, different ways to create a background. And then I'm going to take, so that will get us into mid-November. So then I'm going to take a break until the end of December, as far as series go, because I'm planning on doing a December daily. So I'm going to have a lot of my hands during the months of December. And then from January until mid-February, I'll start another series. So basically it's 6 weeks of a series, and then I have 6 weeks off and to do other things on my channel, and then again a series and stuff like that. So today I'm going to show you how to make a background using cardstock, and I am going to be using so this is the third kit, my third stash kit. So this is the third stash kit, and then this one, that is the fourth. I've been calling the third in previous videos, so I'm sorry for that. This is number 3, and then here I did it again. This is number 4, and then this is number 3. So I've made 4, 5, let's say 4.5 layouts with this one, and I want to start using number 3 as well. So I'm going to leave this aside because I think I can still work with it, and I'm going to make a couple of layouts with this kit and then intermix that and stuff like that. So anyway, today I'm going to show you how to use cardstock. So I have 5 different packs of cardstock. So I have this, and they're A4, so they're 8.5 by 11. So this is the, yikes, I think it's a Cyber HP green. It should be that one. And then this is the pink. This says pink here, so I guess it's pink. Here's different packaging. So pink, it should be this one, maybe, probably. Yep. And then I have the Lagoon, which is this green here. Then this is the yellow. So it's this one right here. And then this is the Ocean, which is this one right there. So those are cardstock packs I have. And then I'm also going to pull the cardstock from my kit that I have in this kit, since I'm going to be using this kit to create my layout. So I think I just have this pink, the green, and this blue, which is the Ocean from those packs that I showed you. So in the kit, there's also a lot of this pink, so I might add that as well. And then the green is pretty much the same, so I can use this instead of that. I don't know. We will see, because I might need more than 4 colors. So I got this magenta, this green, this blue, and this pink. I'm just gonna get one piece out right there. Because again, as I said, there's lots of pinks in this whatever. And I got the idea to create this layout from this sketchbook that I had to decorate for my art class, and I came up with this, and I really like how it looked, so I thought it would make a really cool background, and a bit more detailed, of course, for scrapbooking, because I don't really have a lot of time to do this. Anyway, so it was inspired by this sketchbook cover here. So I'm going to be doing something similar to that. So, because I'm going to be using gesso, even though this is cardstock, so it holds, it's mixed media, can go on that without ruining it. I'm going to get this paper here, which is a thicker paper than, I think it's thicker. If it's not, I won't do it, but I think it's a thicker paper, so I'm going to cut this down to 12 by 12 and use that as my background, because the 12 by 12 I have is basically paper pattern paper, then just use the back side. So if this is thicker, I'm going to use this, but I don't think it's thicker actually, so I'm just going to go ahead and get one of these. So here's just a piece. Nope, that's gessoed. I'm just gonna pull this one out. Yeah, this might even be thicker than that other paper that I was going to use. So, yeah. Okay. So, I'm just going to put my papers on to the background. Like so. And then I can add that. And then I can do some blue down here and some blue up there. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my papers somehow like this, and then I'm going to measure them and cut them down and glue them on top of each other. So I'm going to put you on fast forward because I'm probably going to struggle a lot with how I'm going to place my papers. So, keep on watching to see what I come up with and my complete layout. Okay, so here I'm just taking my 4 pieces of cardstock and playing around on where I want to place them. So the dark pink is going to stay on that side of the layout as far as I remember. And here I got some removable tape. So this removable tape is by Scotch, and there's a lot on the roll. So I'm just using that to hold down my cardstock in place, so I know where I need to add more and so it doesn't shift a lot. So here I'm just going to trim everything down, and the whole thing doesn't fit in my trimmer, which is why I'm taking my scissors and roughly trimming that, and then I'm going to trim it off the page with my trimmer when it fits in the trimmer. So there I go, doing that. Yeah, so if you're wondering why the back of my background paper is patterned, it is because it is originally a pattern paper from a paper pad that I have. And because I don't have any white cardstock and it's really hard for me to get white cardstock, I just use patterns that I don't like. I just flip that over and use the back side. And I have 180 sheets of those. And there's 3 of each design, so I don't really need 3 of each design for all the designs. So that is how I use that paper pad. Anyway, so here I'm just shifting around my papers a bit, and I'm trying to figure out where I want that green. And I'm considering now to leave the green and the pink with just that little space in between, but I decided against that. So here I didn't really want the pink to be exactly next to the pink, which is why I was thinking about it, but I did end up leaving it like that. And then I'm going to do 2 smaller clusters of the blue, 2 smaller rectangles of the blue and the green on top of the pink background. And you're going to see that I'm going to piece together the pink because it's not going to fit. So I'm putting that larger piece at the bottom, and then I'm taking a little piece to put at the bottom there. And then I'm marking it with pencil to see where I want to trim it down. So I did that, and then the other one is going to be mostly covered, so I'm just leaving it at the size that it is, and I'm adding some tape to keep it all in place. And then here I'm moving the green and the blue, and I'm marking it here to cut it down. And I'm going to make a mistake on that blue paper, which is why I'm going to need to fill in spaces with the pink again. So yeah, so I'm just trimming those papers down. And the mistake is that I cut the whole thing off instead of cutting it at a corner and leaving some at the bottom to the right. And now that's a bit out of frame, so I'm sorry. So yeah, now I realize that that space there next to the green, I don't want the white showing, so I'm just cutting another little piece of the pink cardstock and putting it right in behind. And you can't really see that once everything is laid out on top. So here I'm just using my tape again to keep everything in place. And then there's also a little white space at the bottom there, which I'm going to fill in with blue, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's blue. So here I'm getting my glue, and I'm starting to glue down everything. I am leaving the tape where it's not visible. So under that green paper, there's some tape. So here I'm taking the pink and gluing it down, again leaving the tape where it is invisible. So I'm just gluing everything down using, that is the Yoo-Hoo Twist and Glue. It's liquid glue, and I think it works really well. Yeah, not just for paper on paper, but for flare or sequins or wood or paper clips, things like that. So there I go, piecing in that little piece of the blue, and that's about it. I am going to stick some more things down, I think, because they didn't stick quite well, and I have to still remove. So yeah, I'm going to stick down the green, and then I'm going to stick down the blue. So I didn't really think about this, so I was just literally just collaging pieces of cardstock to create a colorful background. And then I'm also going to add stuff on top, so it won't be so, you won't understand that there's been a lot of pieces stuck together on one, because it's going to be a bit more busy and it won't be so visible. So then there, just trimmed down the last pieces of the cardstock, and I'm going to just explain to you what I'm doing next. I've finished my collaging of cardstock. I really like how it turned out, but it's still very boring. I mean, it's just pieces of colored paper glued on top of each other. So this is the base from my background. Next, I'm going to make it a bit more interesting. I'm going to get my gesso and some distress inks, and I'm going to make a nice background here using those to make this much more interesting, and it will also slightly dull down some of the vibrant papers like the pinks and the greens, so then my photo cluster will be more visible once I get that far. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to use. Okay, so I have this gesso primer, which I'm not sure if it's the gesso I should be using, but it's good enough. So this is some gesso primer in white, so I'm going to use that. And then, hope that didn't dry out. And then I'm going to pull out my distress inks and find which colors match with my kit, which I think all of them do match. So I'm just going to mention their colors right now, because I only have 5 of them. So I have a large one of tumbled glass. Then I have the mini ones in Mermaid Lagoon, cracked pistachio, fossilized amber, and Abandoned Coral. So I think I'm not going to be using this one because the red clashes too much with this magenta, but the others all work. Mostly, this one sort of works, but if I mix it in with something else, it will be okay. So, anyway, just on a side note, I store my distress inks in this really cool pouch from Fancy Pants from the Atwell collection, and it's waterproof and everything. So, anyway, I am going to use a, what is that thing called? I can never remember what that tool is called. So I'm just trying to find it here. I'm sorry. This. I'm gonna use this. I seriously, I don't know what it's called, but as soon as I turn this off, I'm gonna remember. But anyway, I'm gonna use this to apply my gesso, and I'm not gonna apply it evenly. I'm gonna put some here, some there, so it's not gonna be gesso in every single part of the page. So that will add again some more interest, especially when I put on the inks, and you'll see a more vibrant colors where the gesso is, and then less vibrant where they're not. So yeah, I'm gonna remove this tape here once I get that far. So I'm going to put you in fast forward again and start that process. Okay, so here I go removing that tape that I kept on there just to keep everything in place while the glue was drying. And I'm just putting some gesso on that thing that I can't remember the name of. And I'm putting some, I think it's a paint knife, I'm not sure. So I'm starting off and putting gesso where the papers overlap and also in the corners. So yeah, I'm just spreading it out so that it's not bumpy. Yep, so anyway, I put some up in the corner over there. I put some in all four corners, I think. And then here I'm just adding some more because it looks weird as it is at the moment. And I'm being very careful to have a different consistency in different places. And also to not have an even line of gesso or even thickness and stuff like that. So I'm just working a lot on where the papers overlap, as I said, so they look more integrated into each other than different elements on a page. So that the gesso helps a little bit to achieve that. So yeah, and I'm really sorry if you could hear that door just bang, but anyway, so still putting on gesso until I'm satisfied with how it looks, basically. So I'm just completing the last few layers of gesso, and I just wanted to show you how it's really cool look. So I wanted to make the papers look more integrated into each other. So I'm started off with gessoing where they overlapped. And then what I really like is it's not even. So here you see there's more deeper, and then here it's up higher. And also the consistency. So like here it's thicker, so it's more white. But over here you can barely see it. I mean, it's almost clear. Maybe it's because it's on that dark paper, but here as well. And then there's these spots where there's nothing on, which I think is really cool too, because this adds a lot more interest to the page. And then when I go ahead and add some inks, it's going to be a lot more interesting. It's going to add just that last touch that it needs to be a very cool background. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry while I clean my desk here. And then I'm going to put the distress inks on, and yeah, I'm going to do that while I'm fast forwarded as well. So here I go with my inks, and I'm sorry for the camera shaking right there because I'm trying to get the picture in frame. So I'm really sorry about that. So here I'm going to get some packaging. It's just a bit of plastic that some stickers or something came in, and I'm going to do the packaging technique for this specific layout. So first I'm going to start off with the Mermaid Lagoon, and I'm just putting on some ink onto that plastic, and I'm also adding some of the tumble glass to make a new shade. And then I'm going to use these painter knives, I'm not sure if that's how they're called, to mix it up and to add water and mix it up because I couldn't find my paintbrushes. So here I'm just spilling on some water because that's just taking too long. And I'm mixing all of the ink that I had on there and adding water until I like how watery it is, so it's easy for me to apply onto the page. So I'm gonna flip it over. I might here. I'm really careful because I'm scared I'm gonna spill it. So I'm gonna flip it over. It's all gonna go in one place, but that's fine because I can simply pick it up and spread it around with that plastic. So I'm just putting it in all the gesso places, everywhere basically on my page. And you see where the gesso is, the color is more concentrated, but on where the gesso is not, you get this deeper look. There's not so much color, but because it's also because of the water. But you get this sort of deeper look, and again, just adds more interest, more texture, more depth to the page, which is what I'm going for here. And then I just had some paper there and to clean up my packaging so I could add another color, but I'm not going to add something in the end. I've used some distress inks. So I used the Mermaid Lagoon and the Tumble Glass. And I used the packaging technique. And you see how it's really cool here where there wasn't any gesso. It's like a darker shade, and then where the gesso is, there's some hints of blue, and you can see through to how page was before. It's just really interesting. It adds a lot of interest. It won't be so vibrant when it dries, so I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna start working on the layout using my third stash kit. So here I'm going through my huge stack of photos to see which ones match and which ones I feel like scrapbooking. So I'm going to find multiple options, and I'm going to end up picking two, and then I'm only going to use one of those two, and I'm going to have to make another layout for the other photo. So the ones you see on the right there are the ones I'm considering. So yeah, going through a huge stack of photos. Not the ones from my 2 trips, so not the ones from America or the ones from Greece, because I'm not sure how I want to scrapbook those yet. So here I'm going and seeing which one I feel like scrapbooking. So I'm not really in the mood to do 3 photos, and those don't really match. Then I really want to scrapbook that picture of my sister's tower. So she made the tower that Donald Trump was saying he was going to build a huge tower, not a huge tower, a huge wall. So that's what she was making there, and I thought it was really funny because she's 5. So anyway, but I won't end up scrapbooking that because it doesn't really match. So I'm gonna go with those 2 photos there, and I'm only going to be scrapping one of them. So I'm still really considering it, but I'm gonna decide on the those 2 that's set there. So there you go. And then I just have my kit next to me, and that is my kit number 3. And this is the first layout I'm making using that kit. So I cut down that one that was from Instagram, so it's the same size, it's the same height as the other one. But no, I'm not going to use it. And then here I'm still considering that other photo, but it's just not working. So I'm getting rid of all the embellishments here and putting them in front of me so I can find papers. So I'm starting with that heart packaging sort of thing, and yeah, so again, just going through and trying to find my papers or elements that I can use for layering. So there I went with that Project Life card, but that's not going to make it onto the layout. And then here I go with that vellum, and at the moment it's not going to work, but I will use it later on towards the end. And then I bring that packaging because I move things around. And then here I get to the paper, and I'm just looking at all my scraps first and seeing which ones I want to use. So I thought that mustache paper would look very nice because it's sort of me and my friends, and this like sort of, I don't know, it just looked good. And it's also black and white, which would make it stand out from the background. So I just put in a little layer behind my photo, and I'm still trying to incorporate the other photo, but as I said, not going to work on this layout. Yeah, so I'm playing around here. And see, so there I get rid of it, and I'm going back through my papers and trying to find lots of layers. So I got that green polka dot paper, and I just stuck a bit there, and then I'm gonna cut some strips of this gingham pattern to put on the top and bottom of the page. So I have that little scrap which I'm gonna put at the top, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna change it out for a regular piece when I get to gluing it down. I'm not sure. So still going through papers, and then I found this and just putting again a layer of that in behind. I'm not really thinking about how I want my layers. I'm just putting any paper that matches. So yeah, and now one of these papers has a really crooked side, but I don't care because I don't really care about that stuff. I know, and I know that probably drives a lot of people nuts. I do care with some layouts, but for this specific one, because the background is busy and it's not even, and the whole vibe of the layout is not even, I'm not really minding it. So there I took that floral paper from the Amy Tangerine Stitch 6x6 paper pad, and I'm adding some of it at the top and bottom of my photo, just to bring in some more black. And then here I'm deciding to map my picture on the vellum because it was getting a bit lost. So this helps bring the focus more to my picture. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So here I'm going with that removable tape again because I have a lot of layers, and I'm just adding it in places so the layer stays put and I can add more things into them without all of them moving around. And yeah, I think you understand what I mean. So yeah, just putting, and then I have that little layer that I can lift up and put back down without it collapsing. And then here I'm still going through my papers to see if I can add something extra. And I'm taking that green polka dot that I have on the top and incorporating at the bottom, because it's the only paper that I don't have on both top and bottom of my photo. So I think that's about it for my paper layers, and here I'm just starting to glue everything down. So this is going to be a long process, so please bear with me. Again, I'm using my Yoo-Hoo Twist and Glue liquid glue, and I'm removing tape by tape and gluing down the papers. So I'm starting from the top and working my way down. Yep. So you don't really end up seeing that heart, the purple heart. You just see a tiny little bit through the vellum, but it's fine. It's still used, and yep, still adds just a slight bit of gold also into my layers, so then I can incorporate gold in other aspects. Yeah, so there my sister came and was trying to convince me to add that bright bow, but I didn't really like it for this layout, and I'm sorry about my head there. I just had to see where to put the glue. And then I got a lot of glue everywhere, so I was just using a paper to scoop that up. And I'm sorry for that creaking noise of the door. Everyone is home at the moment, and it's a bit noisy. I really apologize for that. So there's where I switched out that piece of gingham because it was just too small, the previous piece, and also I sort of ripped it with that paper and the glue going everywhere. So there I go, sticking that down. And then I have just a few more layers at the top there, so I'm removing the tape and gluing that down. Again, I'm really sorry for my head, but I had to see where I was doing, or else I would be super crooked. And there it moved around a bit, so again, that's a little crooked once again. But because everything is crooked, it looks like it's meant to be crooked, and also because of the layout, I already said this, but anyway, because of the layout, the background is so like it's not straight, it's uneven, like the gesso and stuff like that. So here I went through my clips and I'm adding that little clip there. I don't know what clip that is called, but I'm adding it at the top there so it seems like it's holding all the layers together and just overlaps a bit on my photo. And yep, so then I'm taking this strip of white ribbon, which I'm going to put right behind my photos, my layers there. So I'm not gluing that down yet. And then here I'm going through my die cuts. So these die cuts are, so okay, that date one, that little tab that I put in the layers up there is from the Happy Place Fancy Pants collection. And here I just moved down my cluster to the side and I'm playing around with where I want to add some die cuts. And I do decide on that circle up in the top there and the small things at the bottom. And then I'm going to make a little cluster in the right corner. I'm sorry about I was just shifting my camera a bit. I'm going to make a cluster in the right hand corner at the top to just bring in some elements and it's not so empty up there. So I'm taking a strip of that Amy Tangerine paper and putting it right under that die cut from, so that is from the value kit, the Notes and Things value kit by Project Life, Peggy Higgins. So here, I thought the papers were getting lost. So I'm going to go and literally get a piece of notebook paper out of my notebook that I have for school. And just going to add a square around my layers there to add some more interest so that brightness makes the layers stand out a bit more. And then there I'm going to glue down, I'm just adding some tape to keep that tab in place. And then I'm playing around with the tag, that's not going to work, and I think that's all for the die cuts. Yeah, so here I'm just seeing enamel dots, and I'm just finding all of my embellishments. So here I'm going to take a star clip, and I'm going to put it in my top hook, in the cluster in the right hand corner. And I'm not sure what I'm doing at the moment, but anyway, I'm back. So I'm just using that as an actual paper clip and clipping those two paper elements together. I really like how that looks. And then, yeah, I'm not sure what I was doing with those other paper clips. And then here I'm going through the rest of my embellishments, starting off with those enamel dots, and then looking at those hearts. I don't think I'm going to use any of those. And then I got my drawer of alphas, and I'm looking for something to use as my title. And I won't end up using any alphas as my title. I'm just going to use a little printable, which you'll see in a bit. There I go. So these are some printables by Jen Scow that I bought off her website, which is, I think, craftedjenscow.com. So if you want to go check that out, you can do that. So I just found that all the good things, and I've been using those quite a bit for titles. So my titles are getting pretty generic. I should really fix that, but anyway, so there goes that. And then, yeah, so now I'm going to glue down that tab once I'm sure I want it to be there. And I'm also going to glue down that other die cut, and I'm going to also glue down that cluster there, which I had attached with some removable tape again. So I'm still using the same glue. And then I'm going to add my little star clip. So I'm shifting around the title because it was getting covered up by the star clip. So I glued that down to the page, I believe. And now here I'm gluing down my photo to the cluster because I hadn't glued that down yet. And that little die cut with the gold foiling again. And now I'm gluing it all down onto that notebook paper. And again, I'm sorry about the camera. I accidentally bonked it with my hand. And here I'm just gluing down that ribbon with the same glue. And it is again going to be glued down quite crookedly. But the same reasons apply as before. I'm not going to repeat them because you've probably heard them a gazillion times and are quite sick of them. So anyway, still gluing things down apparently. Yes, so, yep. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a 6-week series that's going to be happening, and I am going to have some other ladies join me on either the 5th or the 6th a week. Not sure about that yet. So if you want to join, please leave me a comment below, and I'll make sure to add you to the group on Facebook. So yeah, here I'm adding the date of when I took the photo. Yeah, so and the layout is complete, and I really like how it turned out. I mean, the background is really, I don't know why I love it so much. I love it. And I really like all this layering I did. I hardly ever do so much layering, and I really like the fact that I just added a plain notebook paper literally out of my notebook. Then I've been really liking using clips lately, and I don't have very many left. So, I don't know. Anyway, really fun layout for me. It was nice making it. I think it took me just under an hour, which is good. I've been noticing that it doesn't take me 2 hours. It just takes me 1 to actually make the layout. Just need some time to clean up and things like that. So anyway, I'm going to show you the layout close up, and then you can see the background in detail and all the little things. So yeah, there'll also be some photos at the end, and if you like the background I made, be sure to check in next Sunday for the next installment of my Create Your Own Background series. So there'll be photos at the end, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.